Hi, I'm Bruce Burke. We're back with doing another podcast under the absolutely incredible podcast banner. We have again the AI Bros with John Lawson. This is our third week, and peace on that too.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's starting to
3
become
weeks.
like a regular thing. And listen, I'm not into like repetition and continuity and all that. So, I'm a different set of molecules like every day. So,
Okay. All right. TMI.
yeah,
TMI.
yeah, yeah, But so anyway, for those of you who don't know, maybe you introduce yourself. I introduce myself because I don't think maybe everybody doesn't know who all we are and all that.
Yeah, well, that's cool, man. My name is John Lawson, and I am I don't know. I'm just me. All right. And I've been doing ecom and in the, electronic space for like 24 years now. And right now, I am doing a lot of coaching, speaking, training. I coach in one of the nation's largest small business network groups called Traffic Sales and Profit. And I don't know. That's pretty much it. I help people with AI.
There you go. That's
Doesn't
so.
everybody, though? I mean, oh my God.
It's probably the most type 2 letters of 2025, AI.
Yeah. And I just started a green juice fast. So, ugh.
Oh, wow. Yeah. What's that? The AGI? Is that the AGI stuff?
No,
Or
man.
AG1 or whatever it's called?
I get this from my uh, like the world market around the
Oh,
corner.
okay.
So it's a big old market, and they got all the fresh fruits and stuff, and they will press your juice for you. So
Nice.
I
Nice.
know, and it tastes yummy.
Wonderful.
Yes, I love a green juice. I really do. I don't know. Have you
Okay.
ever had a green juice?
Yeah. I've got a friend here in town over on the south side. I haven't been over there for a long time in St. Petersburg. Ray Milton. He's got a vegetarian soul food restaurant. And
Really?
yeah, bro, it's it's fire, right? He's brought a bunch of samples. There was a club in downtown St. Pete that I used to go to. It's like an entrepreneurs meeting once a week, right? Kind of a thing. And he
Uh-huh.
used to bring some samples and stuff over there. Great guy, just a great guy. And uh, I couldn't even tell you what's on the menu.
I
But
love a good. Mm.
yeah,
I love a good vegetarian. I love a good soul food. Mix the two, and you got something going on there.
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, you kind of feel like when the food's coming out, like you feel like what they put into it, right? You know what I mean? You go a lot of
You
places
feel the
like,
love.
Here's your damn burger, right? Shut up, get out of here, right? Give me your $50 and go home, right? This you feel the love when you get there, right, and all that. So it's good.
That is awesome, man. All
Yeah.
right, what do you got going on today in technology?
I haven't done a whole lot. I had a doctor's appointment, like I said earlier this morning, and I uploaded the second episode of the AI Bros just now, and I started publishing the little mini clips. Those are all uploaded to YouTube. Also, I uploaded all those to YouTube because I don't upload those through Substack. So I think there's about another 10 clips. I'm just cutting what they cut out. Right? They just you just say generate AI clips in Riverside, and it goes and listen. It names the clips. It's tell them what the subject matter is. It's generating the clip from the beginning to the end. Sometimes you want to include a little bit more or a little bit less that it's not including. Essentially, what you're doing to edit it is just editing the transcript that the video outputs when you shoot it.
So it
So
works pretty good.
you edit the sentence out, you select it and say delete, and it takes that portion out of the video. It's the easiest video editing that I've ever done in my entire life. It really is. Uh,
Wow.
when I start to blather on, just cut, delete, and
It'll cut it on the ground. Like keep it to the meat. of
Yeah.
the meeting. Yes, that's cool.
And
That's
it
cool.
it will take out all your uhs and ams and stutters and all that stuff if you want it to too, and it pieces it back together pretty nicely too. You don't get that, like some of the stuff on TikTok. You can tell it's like rapid cut. And you're like, oh my god, I don't even want to watch this because it's like cut so bad, right? But this when it cuts it kind of smooth. Sorry, there, I'm hitting the mic, but anyway, yeah, it's a Riverside. It's a great podcasting tool, and the real benefit is it's recording on both ends simultaneously, so there's
Right.
no lag and jitter and stutter and all that stuff. But that's there's a lot of people putting AI tools into existing software platforms. I'm reading about a lot of different companies that are been around, like Canva. You just got the new Canva with the AI capabilities, right?
Right.
LinkedIn is definitely loading up the LinkedIn site with every bit of AI it can possibly put in there. There's just a lot of existing platforms that are now integrating a lot of AI into their, existing stuff that they're selling. I think that's an interesting plot twist. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like AI is a platform, and everything's going to have a component. I mean, actually, everything already kind of does, but I think we're going to see more generative AI into it. Agentic AI taking off, just in terms of, I don't know if it's taking off, but it feels like in the bubble here, it's taking off, you know. And then the vibe coding thing,
Oh, yeah.
I did something today that was like, oh wow. See, I pay, you know, every year. And it's like, I mean, I don't know what it is, maybe $80 a year to have this teleprompter, right? On my computer. And I was wondering if I could get I think I did Claude. I got Claude to build me a browser based uh, teleprompter. Like it actually works. I'm able to go back and forth and say, yo, I want it to have a speed control, and now it does a speed control. And then I'm like, I want it to be full screen. I want it to have, either white or black, you know, in terms of its mode. And all of that came together, and I am really impressed. And literally, it runs inside a browser, and it's got pretty much everything that I want. I got to see if I can get the text to reverse, even though I don't have a teleprompter. But you never know. One day I might. And for this to be for me to be able to code that up, and I hate I'm sure people that actually code for a living hate the fact that I'm calling myself. It's like those people that went up to space last week. All of a sudden, you're an astronaut. It's like, really? I fly Delta. I'm a pilot. Yes, I get it. But it does. This new world is pretty amazing.
So, how long did it take you to spin up your teleprompter from scratch?
Oh, yeah, maybe 20 minutes,
Wow. And it's fully functional. You
and it's
you can have
fully.
white text on black or black text on white.
Yep,
You can control the speed that it goes in. Can you
yep,
control the size of the font or how big the letter is, or
yep.
that's okay? And but you're talking about mirroring it. So if you're using an actual teleprompter, that actually mirrors whatever's
Right.
on the screen because it's actually using a mirror to project it. Um,
Yes.
and so what else does it do? So you just feed it your script.
Yeah, I mean, it's got two windows. One is like paste your text here. I mean, it's very, you know, it's plain Jane, but
Yeah,
it
you
does
spent
what it
20
needs to.
minutes on it, John.
Right, exactly. That's true, right? But I mean, it's like it's got two windows. The top part's like paste your text in. The bottom part starts reading or starts scrolling the text. Then I told it that I wanted to have the speed where I could change the speed with my numbers. So now when it's scrolling, I can press 5 and it'll go faster, or 7 and it'll
Oh,
go
so it's
even
like a
faster.
1 to 10 speed
Yep.
control, and you just type
1 to
on
10 speed
your
control.
number pad. Okay.
Yep. And then I put page up and page down so I could immediately jump to the top or to the bottom. And I'm just everything I keep thinking about, I'm like, hey, do that. And it goes back and writes the code again and pushes it back out. And it's just, I'm tripping off of it. Actually, what I think I am going to do is probably do a challenge on, like a Facebook challenge. Hey, build this. And because everybody I know kind of would use it. Everybody's making content these days, and having a teleprompter really helps you keep focused on what you're saying, keep your eyes at least at camera level, depending on where your cam is. Even if you don't have an actual physical teleprompter. I got a teleprompter over here. I never use it. I mean, it's like, so I do need to do it just to try it out, you
Hey,
know.
but that's the thing. People can go and I've got a need. I've got something I need or something I want to do or something, or maybe even it's just a rapid prototype, right? Maybe it's not the final product, but you want a
Right.
proof of concept, right? Um, the guy Nate B. Jones I was talking with last week, he built some kind of thing where he does a active comparison of the different AIs as to what they're good for and everything, and it's kind of he's kind of automated it as an app kind of a thing. It's on his Substack, and you can see it there. He's out on the Substack too. He's all over the place. This guy's on TikTok. This guy's everywhere. But I got to make a
Mm,
correction. In
mm.
doing today's episode, I almost cut the part out. Like I told you, I can cut parts out. And I almost cut the part out where I was talking about Steve Jobs on stage with Kara Swisher and Walt Mossberg. I went and researched the clip, and it turns out I totally had it backwards from what it is. Siri was an AI, and Steve, they said a search tool, and Steve said, "No, you don't understand. Siri is
Yep.
AI." And he looks at him and he levels on Walt, and he gives him that "I'm Steve Jobs, challenge me on this, bro" kind of look, right? Like, come at me, bro, right? And he's like, and we like kind of what it does, right? Now you got to remember, this was Oh, dude, this was like 2008, maybe something. This was
Wow.
before the housing crisis, right? Before the bottom dropped out, a housing crisis, and
Mm.
so it was the early days when they got Siri, right? They were what about maybe the iPhone 7, 6. I don't think it was on
Wow.
5. So
Mm.
I
That's
totally gave it
crazy.
backwards. Siri was an AI from the beginning.
He said it was.
Oh yeah, the
Okay.
interviewer is like, you got this search tool, and he's like, no, it's not a search tool, it's AI. And he looks at him like, this is important stuff, right? He gave him that look like, don't don't laugh at me about this, like it was almost like that. It was very interesting. But anyway, wanted to clear that up, folks. If you watch the previous episode, you go, that guy's an idiot. Sure enough, I was, and here's the great story.
Okay. That's interesting. I did not, when you think about it, because it's so not AI now, but absolutely. I mean,
I'm
it had
sorry,
voice
I don't have an
recognition.
answer for that.
I know, I know, I know. But everything when the way we deal with AI tools today, um, which is so unique is that one advancement in the world of AI now moves forward all the advancements. And back then, just human text or human voice recognition was its own AI power. That was one silo, and people would just work on voice recognition. Another silo would be, photo recognition. And those things were not the same. They didn't have a whole lot of crossover. But now, today, all of it, we have this multimodal AI. And I am really impressed. I, with, I don't know, ChatGPT has got me going back to it where I had not used that all that much. But the latest 0304 update and of course the imagery. I think the imagery got me back in, and then they came out with the 0304 update, and now I'm kind of like doing a lot of stuff inside of ChatGPT again. So I don't know. I don't know where we're going, where we're headed. I'm really excited about the prospects of a new version of Claude, which has to be in the works. I mean, well, I know it's in the works, but I mean, it's got to be close to release. And so, what that's going to do next will be pretty interesting, especially in the vibe coding.
Well, you're not alone with the Chat GTP. Wall Street Journal today, they put out an article and it gave like the what do you call it, the high level overview of what's going on with the leaders in the AI space, like who's doing what. And they had a level 1, 2, and 3. This one's like the core AI. This one's doing applications. This one's building bots on the top of all that, right? But who's
Mm,
got the users? Chat GTP hockey stick, right? The other guys are
yeah,
down here. Seriously, all of them. All of them. Chat
yeah,
GTP and OpenAI is way out in front. I know a lot of it has to do with, I think they said during the week of the Studi Ghibli thing, right? They brought in like 100 million new users.
yeah. Like doubled
Yeah. So they're
in
off the
use.
charts right now, and it's absolutely insane. I posted that on Facebook earlier today. I just clipped the four images. There was a lot of text, and I didn't think it would all fit on the Facebook, so I clipped the 4 images and posted those. And really interesting to see um, who's spending. Meta's spending the most of the big five, right? Amazon's spending the least. I found, but they already have a lot of
Really?
that stuff. You know, they have Alexa. Alexa's pretty smart. You know, I don't think it's as good as Google Assistant, but Alexa's pretty good. And now they got this Rufus shopping assistant, you know. Uh, but Mark Zuckerberg's out in the lead with the spend, a lot bigger than everybody else.
I wonder why. I wonder why.
Well,
He's got more data than anybody else.
and he's got a lot of outlets. You know, if you want to think of leverage, right? He's trying to make social cool again, right? He put the friends tab in so you can just see your friends. Um, apparently the application that I use now for the glasses that I have, the Meta AI glasses app, you can go to Meta AI or Meta.ai, which is like a MetaAI.com, but there's not a standalone app now. But apparently this app that they're using for the glasses is going to become the Meta AI standalone app that you'll also be able to pair with your glasses if you have it.
Mm,
And it's going to make a
okay.
transition, and they're adding they've already added so you know, like CapCut on TikTok, they put out a new photo editing or photo and video editing thing on Instagram. I forget what it's called. It's not Reels, it's something. So they're putting that creative later in, like TikTok and some of the other ones of doing, where you can create right on the platform, and you don't
Mm,
have to go create outside the platform and then bring it to the platform and then, you know, send it down the tube, right? So apparently you'll be able to take, I don't know, a picture or a video with the glasses and maybe mix it with some, you know, doohickeys flying around in the picture and some dates flashing or something like that, and like send it, right? Do some generative AI and mix it with some live video right on your phone, and you know, so he's really after it in a lot of different ways. I've seen in the last couple of weeks. They're getting ready to do their LlamaCon down in wherever they're down at the headquarters down there. They're doing their LlamaCon, which is all about their AI. And then they got the Meta Connect coming up in a couple of months too, I think. And so
mm,
he's really pushing, and he's got a lot of social influence. You got to think this guy's got Facebook. You can do it
yeah,
there. You got
yeah,
Insta, you got WhatsApp, you got Facebook Messenger, which is a standalone app all by itself now.
yeah.
You um, Now you got Threads, which is essentially a Twitter knockoff, right? It's a shorts service, and I'm doing the thumbs up there. And then now he's got that the the thread sends it out to the Fediverse thing. So that's part of his, wider thing. I don't know if you've seen the Fediverse stuff, but essentially it's so you've heard of Mastodon, they've made a lot of the new social networks that are like Twitter on the Mastodon platform, which is an open source software that
Okay.
anybody can spin up a Mastodon and call it something else. Um, but those and those other open source social platforms that are out there are
Uh-huh.
using this Fediverse protocol. It's so when you're posting the threads, it posts out to the Fediverse, and all these other things can pick it up, and people can see you. And then apparently there's a payment protocol in the Fediverse.
Oh,
So
that's
I wrote an
huge.
article about a year ago about doing payments in the Fediverse and what I think is going to happen there, because I was the payments guy, right? But the payments people are like, "What the hell are you talking about? What is the Fediverse? Right? What is this, Star Trek?" And I was like, "No, that is not many people have heard about it. I'm surprised that they haven't pushed it more, because it turns out to be a large number of people, because it's a bunch of different spin-ups of these different servers that are essentially little Twitters all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that's something that Twitter's been wanting to do forever. You know, well, not Twitter necessarily, but Elon has been wanting to do forever. And I think that was one of the reasons at that time when he bought Twitter, you know, I thought he was going to do more with transactional stuff. But then he went down a rabbit hole and now he's
Yeah,
stuck in the rabbit hole.
when I was doing
So,
those bullet point bulletins that were the fintech and Web3 kind of things, there was a whole somebody did a leak. They found a leak, and there was a whole thing about crypto inside of Twitter, and they were showing all these diagrams that were made, and it was a leak from inside of Twitter. And there was a Twitter coin and all kinds of stuff, right? A Bluebird coin. I think that's before he renamed it, but um, he has Grok as a website, like Meta has AI, their AI as a website now, right, where you can go to, like ChatGTP and all that. Um, I think they're about to release or just released a standalone AI app for Grok, just like they're doing for ChatGTP and everything else now, right? Um, but it's interesting to watch, like, how everybody is, like, how they roll it out, right, and how they continue to roll it out once they got it out to a certain point. Um, you know, like Grok is pretty much, they just spun the data center up, like, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago.
it only took him a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it was like 8 weeks, and it's like one of the largest super clusters of computing ever. And I mean, he spent tons and tons and tons of money on it, right? I don't necessarily like the guy's viewpoint, but you got to admire, like, what money can do to spin up, like, intelligence, right? You got to,
Yeah. But it's not just the money. I mean, a lot of companies have the same amount of money
yeah,
and could get, but he got it done. And that, I mean, everybody was telling me you can't do it. You can't do it. Not in, and I think he did it in like 21 days, something. I mean, 18. I think he did it in 18 days. It was crazy. It was crazy, you know. So, but this is that new race. We're in a race. We're in a race to AGI, and we'll see who wins that race. But I mean, I'm definitely not discounting any of the players because, you know, the deal was, I remember when Google was the leading AI house, and now you barely hear about even though advancements are amazing, amazing advancements. I mean, their tool is great. Um, I like Grok. I use Grok every once in a while now. At first, I was all in because Grok was cheaper for the deep research. And I didn't like paying $200 just for deep research from OpenAI. It was like, that was really cool, but it wasn't worth $200. Like,
exactly.
And so I went and signed up, got Grok. I think Grok is like $30 a month. It did almost the same. It's not as deep of a research, but it's definitely on point. And it's a very, one thing that Grok is that the others are not is it's fast.
Yeah,
It's fast,
very
and
rapid.
that's because, yeah, because of all of that compute power it's got behind it. And of course, it's got all that compute power and it doesn't have the hundreds of millions of users that OpenAI is dealing with right now. You
Yeah,
know,
you got to be able to scale. I mean, Elon has fat pipes on this thing. Super Micro built this thing. I posted a video about they did a walkthrough and they were showing all the backbone of the servers, right, within the cabinets, right, that just from one server to the next to the next. And now there was a company that was doing optics that connected NVIDIA to NVIDIA servers, right? It was using an optic channel rather than a fiber or anything else, right? So it's faster. And apparently now NVIDIA has some kind of thing that they've developed internally. And so the throughput from one server to the next server to the next server that's in a rack, right? And to the next one in the rack next door to it and down the hall, and right. Elon's one of their top customers, I'm sure. I'm sure every bit of that is the most, newest, best, NVIDIA stuff out there. So I'm sure he got on the cutting edge of that, and I'm sure that helped that the speed of that AI that he's got. It's really fast, really, really
it
fast.
is fast.
Yeah.
It is fast. Don't freak out on me. My cat is over here and he
No,
wants
that's
to be
fine.
brushed. He
The
he
one
is
thing
a
I did
demand cat.
notice, talking about apps and using different apps on your phone, right, versus like using a web-based interface to it, right?
Yep.
Um, I found the Chat GTP interesting because they built haptics into theirs. And so while the thing is working, your phone is kind of chattering and vibrating around in your hand, and it makes it
Really?
feel more like a machine, right? Because you're getting
So is
like a
that when you do,
physical feel.
is that just when you do voice or
No, it was like when it was typing something out, and it was kind of just giving off that light, like typing vibe, just like it's as you're entering stuff, there's like a little bit of feedback, right? As you're entering characters and stuff, it's none of the other ones have done it yet. And that's
interesting?
really when you start separating good software from bad software, it makes it feel more mechanical to me, right? It makes it feel
Hmm.
more like what was the Mechanical Turk, right? That the AI came out of, right? The machine with the guy with the turban, and you'd put the nickel in, and it would tell you get a future and all that. That's what they've called AI for a long time. It's just a Mechanical Turk, right? It's just spitting out responses, canned responses.
Yeah.
They used
Really?
to have those on the boardwalk
I
back in
did
the.
not know that.
Yeah,
That's new. That's new. I always thought, I mean, I used the mechanical, what was it called? I guess it was Mechanical Turk, and Amazon has that,
it
right?
was a thing on like back in the day when the people would go on the boardwalk and there was games of chance and fun and all that thing. It was a big machine essentially that took your nickels, and it would do some animatronics, right, and a voice would speak, and that was a marvel
Oh,
back then,
he would
right?
read, and then he would he give you your fortune.
Yeah, and spit out a piece of paper that was your fortune,
Okay.
right? Or he would say
Okay.
it. I don't, I've seen it physically, but I've never interacted with it because it wasn't working still, right?
Have you ever used Amazon's Mechanical Turk? Like, it's so funny. A lot of people never used it, but it is one of the most amazing, and it's a global workforce that's on demand, right? And you can get, like, if you need survey information, you can get survey information done by real humans for like 10 cents, 25 cents per survey. And it
Really?
was called Amazon Mechanical Turk. And I just didn't look, and I'm like, oh, it's still up there. Because I remember I used to use that a lot. Matter of fact, we used to take our uh, photos from our product photos, and I would feed them to Mechanical Turk, and they would get paid for every single photo that they made a description of. So they would type the description out of what they see. That was it. That was the Turk. And I used to use that all the time. And I would tell people about, oh, you can just go to Mechanical Turk. And a lot of people just didn't know about it. And it's still out there. It's kind of crazy. So all of you guys that are looking for ways to, make some extra side hustle, go to Amazon Mechanical Turk, mturk.com, and you can get little jobs done for pennies, or you can be a Turk and get paid. It's kind of crazy. I had
You know,
no idea that's where that comes from.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of crazy, really, when you think about it. Like companies like Amazon, and you mentioned Google earlier, right? It doesn't seem like they're. It seems like Apple is very good at giving you their message, right? Telling you what their products are about. Maybe I'm just more receptive to it. I don't know. Maybe it's the audience product alignment, right? But I don't think Google is very good about telling people about their stuff, right? They launched their new Gemini at the same time Sudi Ghibli was going absolutely crazy, and nobody gave a damn about anything else, right? They didn't capture the news cycle with it, right? Um,
Right.
and I just don't like, I feel like some companies are really good about telling you about what they've built and what they've sunk a lot of money into. And then others just like they just don't get into the news cycles with their stuff. And I don't know why they're not. I think Google's too big is really what it is.
Maybe. I mean, one of the things, the thing is with Apple, they built a community, and there are stock raving mad fans for everything Apple, and they get away with that stuff. Not many companies do. Not many companies do. And I think, OpenAI, they have hit or miss. They came out with 4.1 and
these
nobody cared.
numbers these
Yeah,
numbers of these products. He
right.
said in 5 that essentially it and I watched a guy this morning, it's really interesting. They were talking about Apple did the one button phone, right? You press the home button and it would like you would do it for Siri, right? You would do it
Yeah.
for go to home so you could go
Yeah.
find your apps, right? You could do it for everything, right? They're saying that Chat GTP needs to move beyond like all this drop down and everything else and make Chat GTP a one button experience, right? You press the
Ugh.
button and,
Then
away it
I'll
goes.
hate it. Then I'll hate
Probably.
it. But as soon as they go that route, I'll end up hating it.
Yeah.
I'm the guy, I want to know all the stuff in the background. I
Yeah.
want to be able to tailor it to work the way I want it to work. But I get it when it comes to adoption and consumer adoption. One button's going to take you, you know.
They
And I
love the
mean,
simplicity of it, right?
yeah. I mean, it's great that 100 million people get on, you know, ChatGPT, but the fact that they're doing cartoons with it bugs me. It's like, really? Hundreds of millions of dollars, and you're just making cartoons. It's like it can do so much more. And, you know, I don't know. We get caught up in, some of the, or at
The
least the
stupidity of it,
general
right?
public.
Right.
The general public, they don't get it. They don't get it. It needs to be a one button. It's like, okay, I get it. If I can make a cartoon of me, that's pretty cool. AI is here. Really? Wow.
It's kind of like when I had the Google Glass and when I first showed it to people, I'm like, I like, okay, Glass, take a picture, right? And they saw the little thing blink, right? And they're like, wow.
Oh, it
And
takes a
that was
picture.
that was the beginning and the end of it. They didn't even want to see the picture. They had heard a noise and they knew a picture was took, and that was it. They didn't care.
That's funny. That's funny. They
You're
still
talking
don't
about
care.
you're talking about like, what you're paying, right? And what other people are
Yeah.
paying for the monthly and everything. And what's funny is like Sam said the other day, like saying please and thank you to ChatGTP is costing us hundreds of millions of dollars a day, right?
Yeah.
Essentially what we're getting right now, like a lot of it's free, obviously, right? We're not paying what it even costs to do it, right? Like not even like what it cost them to build it and what it costs them to process the data that they're at this point giving us for free, pretty much, or
Yeah.
$20 a
Whatever.
month.
Look, I don't care what he says.
Yeah.
I don't care what he says. It costs me the same $20 a month if I say thank you and please, or if I don't. I don't care what he said. I'm sorry. That is your bill, Sam. You pay it. And the other part is, Sam, you're getting all of my for free.
Yes.
And I'm the one, honestly, that's paying more or getting paid less than I should be getting paid for all the things that they're taking and using to build those models. I ain't worried about them. Whatever. He got billions and billions of dollars. Thank you, ChatGPT. But yeah, it is pretty funny. I thought it was interesting that he put that out there, but it's true, and I'm going to keep doing it because one day they might be sentient,
Yeah.
and even if not, they remember everything. So it's
Yeah, a
like,
lot of people have said that they're just being nice, just in case, right? If they
just
ever
in
do turn
case, I
around,
am.
right?
I'm doing yes. I've seen Terminator. We already know where we're going.
Skynet may be a thing. Prepare yourselves.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. I was telling a friend of mine just the other day. I said we're approaching. For me, if you remember that other Schwarzenegger movie where he was Total Recall,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
right?
remember that, right?
Yeah, I really feel that we're going to be approaching that sooner than we think, where you're going to be able to implant memories into whatever that looks like, whatever they do with it. But I feel like that is not that far away,
Well, you got
which is
Elon with
crazy.
his XAI and X.com that are now merged, and he owns this Neuralink company that
The
essentially is
Neuralink, yeah,
right putting things in people's brains. And then he
yeah,
also owns the satellite company that can grab that information right out of your brain and transfer it right on up to that satellite and train the LLM with all that information going on in your brain.
exactly. Yeah, people
Do you
don't
think that's a
understand.
thing? Do you think they'll use Neuralinks to train LLMs? Throw a Neuralink in an
Well, they
expert
have to.
and oh my
They
god.
have to. They have to. I mean, that's. I don't know if it needs to be an implant though. You know, at some level, they might be able to do it without the actual implant and just surface level. I don't know, but
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, this thing right here. I mean, all these things we talk about are really great, but can't none of them even touch the intelligence of a human brain yet. And so, you know,
Yeah,
I
they're
mean, I
just
remember what I was like when, we have these memories that are quick, instant memories, and then we got these memories from when you were a child. And you can every once in a while you can pull back and get into that and use that for today. They can't really do that yet, you know. I got to figure out how they do the memory on ChatGPT, and is it a full memory of all of my conversations that I've had with it? Which would seem like it worked, but I don't know if it really does. I got to
well
check
there
that out.
there was a whole controversy. Microsoft in their Copilot thing was getting to release a thing called Review or something like that, where
Hmm.
essentially it screenshotted everything you did on
Right,
your computer, right? And it would do
right,
AI summaries of it. And everybody's like, no, 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 we don't want that really, no,
right,
you
right.
know?
We weren't ready
And
for that.
they backed off it for a while, but apparently they're rolling it out again. I've found that like working with the Meta AI, it don't remember a damn thing. Like I'll tell it to do, produce an image that has this, that, and this and that. And then it produces something. I'm like, no, you left out like this part. And it's
And it
like,
can't go back.
it doesn't remember. It doesn't remember for any length of time. Let me say that, or it's screwing with me. One of the two. I'm not really sure. Sometimes I'll say, come on, I'm really trying to get this thing done. I really don't have time for your games today, right? And it will be
Right.
like, okay, here's a picture, right? And it's a beautiful picture, right? I've said to it, okay, I give up, right? You win, I give up sometimes because I've gone, I don't know, 5 or 10 times back and forth trying to get the image I want. And I'll say, okay, I give up, you win. And that's when it produces exactly what I've been asking for all along. I swear to
Interesting.
God.
Interesting. See,
Yeah.
these are the things. I mean, it's not sentient, but it's close.
I saw
I
two
will
guys. I
continue.
don't know where it was. It was one of the TikTok things. You get there and there's two guys talking. They're pretending they're in a podcast, or maybe they are. I don't know. And they were talking about. They asked they called it the brah. They called it the brah. They asked the GTP to do something, and it like gave a half-hearted response, and it was like he typed in
Bruh.
brah, right? And the thing like, okay, it gave him more like.
It's amazing that it understands these kind of colloquialisms that are in our, in our language. And it can do it. It can do it.
I was watching, there's a guy on YouTube, I think it's Manson or something, Macin or like that. And he does videos about vibe coding. He's always done it about, building stuff. Now he's doing them about vibe coding.
Uh-huh.
And so I was watching like how he was doing it, and I forget which one he was in. The language that he was using to get the response that he was getting was very light, right? There wasn't a lot of detail. It was very, what you call it colloquialisms. It was loaded with that, right? It was like, hey, just, bang this thing out. It does, and it very not structured or very common, right? Not even like good English, right? He was no periods, no commas, no, no nothing. And the thing output. So, have you
It likes it.
how
It
have you
likes
found
short and
it? Do you
sweet.
do structured, unstructured? Have you tried like different methodologies? There's a lot of people out there with guru classes on prompting and stuff, but
No, I'm not a guru prompting kind of guy. I tell it what I want, and I'm very succinct about what I want. And then usually I let it prompt itself. So I will do some, I will use like the O3 type models and tell it what I want, and then tell it to write a prompt for what I want, and then I'll put that prompt in because it talks better to itself than I can even talk to it. Now, once it gets an output, I will talk in regular natural language. I don't like this. That sounds kind of not like me. I never use those kind of words. I just use straight up English, you know, and I think it is important that you get a output first and then massage it to what you really want, as opposed to trying, it's not I mean, yes, we can do a lot of stuff in one shot, but multi-shot really gets you some great output. If you're taking the first output that you get, normally that's not the best it can be. And then, and I haven't done this in a while, but I used to take output from one and put it in the other and say, make it better. And then take that and put it back in the first one and make it better, and going back and forth until I get like a really, really tight uh, uh, output. So,
who
but
do you,
no, I'm not one.
who do you find actually writes the best of all the ones that you've used? Who, because they
Yeah,
all,
that's
especially
Claude.
when it comes to like the tech stuff, it kind of gets stuck in like tech bleh,
Yeah,
sometimes.
I mean, I definitely think Claude has a better understanding of the language communication kind of end of things. And so, yes, when I want something really tight, then I will end up doing it in Claude for real. You know, anything, actually, anything that I want. Now, if I'm doing short, Facebook post or something like that, I'll do that in ChatGPT. But if I'm writing, slide deck or, um, doing my show notes or anything like that, I usually do it in Claude. And even to this day, I still haven't found, eh, you know, I was going to say, they got a 4.5 in ChatGPT, which does pretty good. However, it's slow as Christmas. And so
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
On the social networks, like when you're posting on LinkedIn or when you're posting on Facebook or some of the others, they've got, some built-in, rewrite this with AI, kind of thing down at the bottom of the window where you're composing. Have you tried any of that stuff in line in the social networks? I'm not using it because I like what I
No,
wrote already, but
I haven't tried that. I haven't
yeah.
tried that. And that's why, I mean, like you said, I'm already doing it inside. And usually, I'm not sure, but usually those things take shorts because you figure they're paying for, each token. So I feel like they shorten things and take shortcuts that I wouldn't normally see as the best output. But I have to test it, but no, I haven't tried that. I'm sure that it's kind of weird. That's where we are right now. It's like my AI is going to be reading your AI output and giving me a summary anyway.
It's funny because I'm working a lot on the MacBook, right? I've got it hooked to the desk here, and I'm using Notes, and I've got the Apple Intelligence, and it's got the rewrite of Notes, and I've never used it. Right? It's right there, and if I'm just copying the stuff, it's like, hey, I'm right here. Once you've selected all the text, it's like, hey, I'm right here, ready to rewrite it, and I'm like, nah, I'm good, right? And I'm not getting anything to rewrite it. The synopsis I just did of the second episode, I wrote it from scratch, right?
Really?
Yeah, I sometimes it's
Really?
good. Sometimes it's good to. I heard somebody the other day talking about people are getting dumber as a use of as they're using AI. Just like we forgot how to keep people's phone numbers in our heads because we got mobile now and it's just a touch away. I don't want to lose some of the ability that I have. So I want to continue to write. And listen, if I can use AI a little bit to kind of just spruce it up at the end, that's fine. But I didn't feel the need to do it on this. I felt like maybe it can do it better. Maybe I'm in denial. I don't know. But
You got to
um,
do it side by side. You got to do an A/B split test.
yeah,
You know, but I think it works really well at the edit. You know, um, I'm not sure it's going to be it's as good as human intelligence when it comes to the first draft. So I don't know. I'm not a writer. I sucked at writing. So for me, AI is a blessing because so much content is written, and I am such a good speaker. At least I feel like I am, but I
you're a
am
good
not a
speaker.
great writer, and so it has been a shortcut for me and allowed me to get what I'm thinking in my head down on paper. Not paper, but you get it.
Yeah. I tend to be a little long-winded, just like myself in real life, right? And I could probably stand to be a little more concise and things like that. I found that a lot of what it writes, like you said, one, it kind of shortens everything and kind of brings
Hmm.
it to a point quicker. I would belabor the point a little bit more. Two, it seems like it's kind of just meh text, right? It doesn't.
Right.
Uh, it can't do a turn on a phrase like a human does, like in their head, like when they're writing something. Put a unique spin on it, and. Um, fill the sentence with emotion, and compel people and that sort of thing. It doesn't feel like it's very emotional in its writing.
I can see that. I can
Yeah,
see that,
yeah,
because it doesn't have actual emotion. So
yeah,
it's trying to emulate it. And there's certain parts, I'll read something and be like, that ain't right. That ain't right. That's not how I would say it. That's not the right way. And so we'll go back and forth. It is definitely a co-pilot for me, but it's very similar to when I had my assistant sitting at the desk right next to me, and I'd be like, "Oh, we need to write a paper on XYZ. Let's go. You do the research. Here's my spin on it, and then put that together." And
yeah.
that's kind of what I use it for.
I've had assistants my whole life, and many companies have paid many dollars to many assistants to sit outside of my office or sit in a space where I am and not do anything because I would never give anything to assistants to do, right? Because it's just easier to do it myself is the thing I always went under, right? But with this assistant, you're like, hey, write 1,000-word essay about 1, 2, 3, right? And it's like, here you go, right? And you're like, hey, I wasn't quite ready for it yet, but thank you, right?
Right, right, right.
It's so fat. No more blank page syndrome, right? Like,
None.
how am I going to write this? Like, where am I going to start, right? Like, you say a sentence to the thing and it's starting for you, right? And you're off to the races. It's crazy just how fast it is, and how, even though it's not uh, beautiful and perfect or anything, it's great for just getting started and getting going on whatever you want to get going on.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that don't do anything because they're not good writers. And guess what? It's
There,
better than nothing.
yes, yeah. I don't know if I ever told you. I see we're coming into the thing here, so I don't want to be too long. When LinkedIn, when Microsoft first made their deal and hooked up, and they were launching Copilot and all that, LinkedIn reached out to me, and they had a designer, and they wanted me to talk to their designer. Uh, and I got on a thing, and I signed a non-compete, but that's over with now, right? Because they've released it. They were launching the AI into LinkedIn, and
Hmm.
so we were talking about it and all that. And she was showing me examples. She pulled up like Figmas that she had done, and it was like my account, right? And then, it's got my little picture there and my name and everything, right? It's just a mock-up, but nevertheless, it's kind of unsettling that they already had these mock-ups of my account, right? Uh, and she was like, so, here's what it would be like if, you just typed it out, and I'm going to copy and paste it. I'm going to do it with the AI now. And it made it like paragraphs that were perfect blocks, 4 of them, right? And I was like, oh, you made it boring, right? You made it like non-human, right? It was perfect. I mean, it was perfect text and formatted perfectly and everything, but it became soulless, right? And I don't think she got that I was like, you guys, and she said something to me about, I said, well, if you're allowing people to use these writing tools, I said, you can't let idiots become thought leaders, right? You've got to say that, this was written with AI, right? You can't, you have to put like some kind of credentials there, right? A byline, AI participated in this 50% or something like that. And she's like, we haven't even thought about that. And I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean you haven't thought about that? But yeah, like, so consider the source, guys. It may, if it, when you're looking at stuff out there and you're interacting with people, think, become aware and like be able to maybe tell if it's AI, you know?
I just would assume it's AI, folks. Like somebody put something on one of my posts and it's like, you wrote that with AI. I'm like, duh, that's my job, bro. Of course I did. You should assume every matter of fact, assume this is not really John. This is just my avatar. I mean, that's the world we're about to hit. I think. We'll see.
I
But
think you're
yeah,
right. When I first started doing the Fin Plus AI conference, I was using a lot of the AI to write a lot of the content because we were writing, I was making up
a lot.
a
Yeah.
whole new thing, right? I had sponsors, I had speakers, I had this, that, everything, right? And I was talking to somebody about it, and I was like, yeah, I'm using the AI to generate a lot of text, right? And they're like, I wouldn't tell anybody that.
Mm-mm.
I was like, why not? Like, I'm using the tools that I'm talking about. Like, I'm a practitioner now, right? And
Okay. I don't see houses say, "Hey, built with a hammer." I mean, of
that's
course,
true.
you're not
You-
putting nails in with your hands. We get it. I get it. I don't have to be like, "Hey, bro, I drove here." No, of course you drove here. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I mean, these are the kind of things that, but it's a change that we're going through, and absolutely, I get it. You know, and especially with video and photographs. There's it's just, but yeah, people are not, just in general, people are not going to own up to with to it without being forced to. They're not.
until
I
the cover is pulled, right? Until the cover is pulled.
exactly. They're not.
You know, I
They're just
I
not.
I just saw yesterday character AI that Google bought recently for I think 2.5 billion. They essentially wanted to hire the guy who because he had been at Google as a researcher and he left and he started this character AI and apparently he
Hmm,
knows quite a bit about AI. So they bought the company so they could get him back and a few of his key players. Yesterday, character AI released a new thing where essentially you can upload a picture and a voiceover and it does perfect synchronization and movement and everything of that character. Mouth movements, eye
really?
movements, everything. Like
I hope
continuity
so.
apparently is beautiful.
I hope so. Because I got this one image I've been trying to get to work, and it's a logo of a cartoon animal, and I can't get any of the things to make it talk because it can't recognize its face. So
Ah,
it'll be interesting, because everything's trained on human faces, and if it's not a human, it didn't know how to do it. So I'm gonna have to check out Character AI. Maybe they got something that could recognize it. That's cool.
yeah, they
That's
continue to
cool.
pour money into it, but I mean, they acquired it for I think it was actually like 2.7 billion. It didn't
That's
have 100 million
insane.
ARR.
I
I mean,
know.
they wanted the guy. The guy I forget the guy's name, but they wanted him more over than
That's
anything else,
crazy.
right? That's how small the talent pool is in the AI world, dude. 2.5 billion to Google. That's like a day's of ad income,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
12 hours. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
I would
That's
like to be in
crazy.
that catbird seat, right? Where and I think it's possible. I really do. I really do think that
Yeah. It's a
like
lot
what you
going on,
said,
man.
but I really like what you said in the last episode. You're saying like now it's amazement, right? In the future, it's table stakes, right? You
Yep.
gotta have it before you even sit down to the table. Now it's going to be like required. So
Awesome. All right. We hit the top of the hour.
top of the hour, baby. 59 and 19 seconds. We're pulling into
Oh
the
my
train station.
God.
That's all for the third episode of the AI Bros. You can find
We
John at
got it.
johnlawson.com. And you can
Yes.
find me at the Substack, Remuneration Lab Substack. And we'll be back again next week with another exciting episode of
Yeah.
the AI Bros podcast. Thanks, everybody.